I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether price is going up or down. So over on total for the daily, we did try to push forward toward our Fibonacci level, but we have an indecision candle. We did break that rising channel. Again, this does show why you should trade on confirmation and not emotion. Our VWAP is bullish, momentum is pushing up, and that money flow is trying to reject that neutral despite that VWAP and momentum becoming bullish. So I would watch that VWAP and momentum very close on lower time frames, because if they remain bullish, that money flow can become green. We could see further strong green candles like this, and we could see a further pump up. There is a 66% chance of hitting this NPP target around 870, 875, but I would exercise caution, and again, don't go for the full move. We already could have our full move played out, because remember, usually you want to shoot somewhere between the low and the high, which is somewhere around that midpoint range, like that 84K, which was that Fibonacci level that we kind of rejected here. But we do look decent overall. We do have a higher low potentially if you consider here and here. So if followed by a higher high, we could still continue that trend up toward that Fibonacci level. There's about a 75% chance of that happening, and that is positive. That VWAP does have a higher low, and we have a slightly higher high, so if this VWAP stays bullish, momentum could break up, money flow would remain in the green, and higher time frames will start to strengthen. That'll give us that pump forward. I would just exercise caution and just watch very closely. Remember, have your stop losses in place, because we did pump up very quick. We do have some current consolidation, that's okay, but if we lose this consolidation zone, then we could have a quick drop down. So that's my only word of caution. And, two words of caution. Over on futures, we have a futures gap. And remember, gaps have an 80% chance to fill, just like this one back here, this one back here, and this one back here that we all saw fill. So I would watch for that short-term push down. That short-term push down, as long as it stays above this value area high, doesn't have me concerned, because we could still continue with higher lows and higher highs to create that bullish continuation, as long as those highs and lows don't create a straight channel. Our VWAP is in the bullish territory, momentum is pushing forward, and money flow does want to break into the green. So as asked, are we close to altcoin season? If I can get the words out, we will evaluate that on futures, on dominance real quick, and kind of give a gauge of how that looks. But over on the 1 hour, we do have consolidation after a push forward, so technically this could make a bull flag and still push us up, but I would still exercise caution, because if we continue pumping up, that drop down is going to be more brutal. RSI is starting to pull back. That VWAP does have a higher low, so if we can get a higher high, that will push momentum and money flow higher, keeping us bullish and giving us that breakup. But if that VWAP gets a lower high, watch out for a lower low. That could start to fill that gap. And then if that VWAP stays bearish at that point, then we could see a break of that Fibonacci level, or that value area high, right around that 88.3 level. So over on Bitcoin dominance, this is what we're going to want to pay attention to if we're going to get an altcoin season. We are just pumping up and up and up and up, and usually when dominance goes down, that's when our total or our altcoins are going to pump up against Bitcoin. Ideally, we would see a rejection here, but we keep gaining and gaining and gaining, and I think if we look at the weekly, this may be like an almost close to all-time highs. These all-time highs, let's see when these were from. This is from 2020, so just before the scam. So we are approaching those kind of levels. I would watch when we saw those levels kind of break away. I believe that's when we saw our altcoin season. So if we look here right around January 21, if we hop over to total and we want to look January 21, not 22, we're July, January. I can't find it. There we go. January 21. So here we did see that very quick push up, and on dominance, when we got January 21, we got that push down. So that's what we want to watch out for. Once this dominance starts to break away from these zones, that's when we're going to get that altcoin season. So ideally, dominance is going to start to weaken, and that'll start to signal that altcoin season. I would wait for a break of this value area high. If we continue staying above that value area high, it's going to be hard for us to get an altcoin season, while Bitcoin will continue to push up. We may end up seeing Bitcoin make a new high, and then Bitcoin may sell off, money may move to alts, and then that's where that altcoin season may start to come in. That's speculation. Hard to say if that's going to happen for sure, but just watch out for this dominance to start to make that retracement and start to get bearish movement. Once that happens, then your altcoins are going to be primed to go. So over on Bitcoin for the daily, we are pushing that major resistance area of our 93K, and we did reject. So we invalidated that that bearish pattern of that rising channel. Again, that's positive, showing why you trade on confirmation and not your feelings. VWAP is bullish, momentum is pushing up, and the money flow is in the green. So we do look positive for the daily. If we look here at the 1 hour, we are starting to struggle to break that resistance. The more we reject, the more likely we could pull back. But also, the more we hit it and keep trying to break through it, the weaker it becomes. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. I would watch for right here when we saw our channel. We did say it's a very loose channel. We had this kind of ride on the bottom. We did push toward the top. To see this channel come to fruition, we would have needed a strong rejection from this top. We did not get a strong rejection. Instead, we got a breakout. That VWAP was a little bullish still, and because that VWAP is kind of riding that neutral line, price hasn't really moved much. We need that VWAP to pick up a trend, which it does look like it's attempting to do with this higher low on that VWAP, with a potential higher high incoming. If we can get that higher high, then I'd see this push toward that 96K, possibly toward that 100K like we've been saying. But if that VWAP were to retrace, then I would exercise some caution and watch for that gap. Even if we do end up pulling back in the short term, again, just watch. If we stay above the value area high on futures, then we could continue our bullish trend. So over on graph for the daily, it does look like we invalidated our bearish pattern as well. If we continue invalidating these bearish patterns, remember that's going to be positive, because if we see bearish patterns and they keep getting invalidated, we had 2 here, then we have a bullish environment. Just like when we had bullish patterns and we kept breaking down back here. So those are kind of things you want to take a hint on as well if you're waiting for that altcoin season. If you see bearish patterns keep popping up and they keep getting invalidated, this season may be pretty decent. Remember, the trend is your friend till it ends. Momentum is pushing forward, VWAP is bullish, and money flow is in the red. But if that VWAP can stay bullish, we will see that money flow start to reverse. Over on the 1 hour here, we have some consolidation after a push up. This could create the one heck of a bull flag for us, depending on where we want to draw it. So there's our top. Now I'm going to squeeze this in a little bit just to capture some of these wicks and candle bottoms. So move that in right there. Again, with this mix is more of an unconfirmed flag. We only have one touch to the top, one touch to the top, and one touch to the bottom. So it's nowhere a solid pattern. But if we continue to bounce along here, it can become one. And that would push us right around that 10-cent level. Our VWAP does have a higher high, so as long as this VWAP can create a bullish trend from here, momentum will push forward, money flow will remain green, and we will continue forward. Over on XRP, last but not least, actually we'll be doing Anchor. Sorry, I almost forgot about that. We do have time for that today, so anyone waiting, we will be covering that. Sorry for missing it the other day. But over on XRP for the daily, stochastic is remaining bullish. RSI is pushing forward. VWAP is bullish. We do have a very short low compared to here, so this could be positive, and this could give us a bullish trend incoming. Momentum does want to lead that money flow higher, but money flow is starting to struggle. Our MPP is still a little cracked out. It does still say 14. I don't think that's the case, but over on the 1 hour, we do have some somewhat consolidation here after a potential push up. This would be a very narrow flag in my opinion, but it could try to push us somewhere around this 240 level. Momentum is favoring bearish though, so watch that VWAP. That VWAP did favor bearish, but now it's breaking forward. If that VWAP can create a new bullish trend by continuing to get higher highs and higher lows, then momentum will continue forward with that green dot. Money flow will remain green, and we will push forward. Again, that's probably going to be dependent on how the rest of the market looks. So if Total makes a breakaway, there's a high chance that XRP would do the same. Remember, some coins do trade on their own, but Total generally leads the market in which way it's going, because it is the market cap of all the altcoins besides Ethereum. Our stochastic is pretty maxed out here on Anchor. RSI really can't go much further, but if they stay in this range, we could continue up. Remember, they're not going to stay in this range forever, though, so the longer we're in this range, the more likely a pullback would be incoming. Momentum is pushing forward. That VWAP does want to stay bullish. I would watch this high is a little shorter, but the waves are pretty consistent. So as long as that VWAP can stay above this neutral, I'm not too concerned here. Money flow is in the red, but again, if that money flow continues to push up with our VWAP and momentum, we will see that break green, and then we could have a pretty explosive move on us once we start getting some strong green candles. If we look here at the 1 hour, we do have a bit of consolidation after this push up. I would watch out though. We do have a gap down just like futures at that 1853. Remember, Anchor loves its gaps, and gaps have an 80% chance to fill. So if Bitcoin starts to pull back, likely Anchor is going to fill its gap too. RSI overall is pulling back, stochastic wants to run up. VWAP does have a higher low, and we are testing for consistent highs. So watch that VWAP to continue a bullish trend here. If that VWAP can break into a bullish trend, getting higher highs and higher lows, momentum will push forward, money flow can reverse, and then we would see the bull flag scenario that could push us up. Just exercise caution in the long term, because that gap could bring us down eventually. It's not going to doesn't have to happen right away, but the sooner it happens the better, because if we fill it now, we don't have to worry about jumping up to previous highs and then coming crashing back down over here. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night. Hit the like and subscribe, and join us in the Discord.